Good evening, everyone. This is another event by Filipino astrologer presenting different Filipino astrologer timing essentials. The idea is to have to use to utilize the power of choice using astrological timing guides. For tonight, we will discuss some basic forecasts for 2022 and will introduce all of you to the power of the moon. Ang basic timing guide natin utilizes the lunar positions where the moon is, anong aspect between the sun and the moon, and the planets dito sa advanced timing guides natin, okay? And there are actually there are several timing guides that we will be having. Itong astro energy is the first that we are released. Okay, and ito you can get this independently of the other timing guides. So ito yung pinaka basic. We call this astro energy because basically, or simplest, the simplest explanation is that we utilize the power of the heavenly bodies. Tapos itong moon kasi is the most active of all the heavenly bodies kasi the moon travels very fast. So meron siyang aspect with the planets. Every 3 days na nagbabago yung moon sign. So observing the movements of the moon is one good activity. Okay. And through these e-books that we will be coming out, you can have a tool to see, to observe astrological forces at work in your life. So ito yung pag-aaralan natin. Okay, and to those who do not know me yet, I go by the brand. Itong pangalan natin is Filipino astrologer. The idea is to present or to share with the Filipinos well-researched, well-studied astrological content, services, and publications. Ang goal ng Filipino astrologer is to make astrology an integral part of Filipino culture. Again, if you are interested to know, I've been doing astrology since 1998. So that's about more than 20 years already. But I would like to state then that up to now, I'm still actually studying different or additional aspects of astrology. So I've been doing astrology for a long time already. Let's go directly into our topics. The first thing that we will discuss is what's in store in 2022, because everybody is, of course, well aware that the past 2 years was not so good. So ano ba? Ano ba itong 2022? Does it bring hope, promise, or what? Okay, in 2020, I coined this term, itong CAB, CAB means the conjunction is about union and birthing. I believe that the conjunction of the so-called chronocrators, Jupiter and Saturn, signifies the beginning or the birthing of something. Kaya lang, just like the new moon, when there is a conjunction between two planets, its energy is sort of dark to start with. Yung beginning niya is a bit dark. Just like the new moon, then 3 days after the new moon, doon pa lang papasok, doon pa lang natin makikita yung light. I think we are in a similar stage. And 2022 is that beginning wherein we start seeing the light. So basically, it also means that the worst is over. The worst is over. Kasi itong conjunction, it signifies the beginning of a cycle in history. And basically, the beginning is always a combination of ending, a battle between light and darkness. So ngayon, 2022 onwards, we can start seeing the light. Okay, so 2022 is something to be hopeful for. Okay. Sige, so the idea or what we need to achieve in 22 is actually to grow from a cub into a roaring lion. So the most important astrological factor in 2022 is this. Jupiter will be in Pisces for the greater part of the year, although magre-retrograde siya on the third quarter, but still the dominant influence is Jupiter in Pisces. Or basically speaking, Jupiter is very strong in 2022. The reason is Jupiter will be in Pisces and also in Aries. So these are the two signs that are good placements for Jupiter to be in. What does it mean? When Jupiter is in a good position, it will bring about what it promises, no, which is growth, no. For example, no, or for comparison, we know that 2021 and 2020, no, are not so good years, no. The reason is simple, astrologically speaking, ano, aside from the conjunction in, kasi ito yung ito yung pinaka-importante, yung conjunction. But then you can also see astrological logic when we look back and see that Jupiter was actually in the signs ruled by Saturn in the past 2 years, no? 2020 and 2021. No? What is Saturn in basic astrology? Saturn is the planet of restrictions, no? Blockages, or basically bad luck. Ang term actually for Saturn is the greater malefic. No? Okay, so when Jupiter is in the sign or in the signs, kasi dalawang signs yan, no? Capricorn and Aquarius. No? When Jupiter is in the signs ruled by Saturn, no? Jupiter cannot function properly. Okay, so what does Jupiter bring about? No? Jupiter is supposed to bring about expansion, growth, and spirituality. So we didn't have enough of this in the past 2 years. Okay, so the good news is Jupiter in Pisces, no, will more or less make Jupiter more powerful compared to the past 2 years. Okay, so Jupiter or 2022 will sort of promise us, no, some form of expansion, some form of growth, and some form of spirituality. These are the energies. So parang the energy is changing, no? Definitely, ano, malaking bagay itong vaccination rate, no, dito sa Philippines or sa world in general. No? So one thing, because it has been proven that vaccines really work, no. Okay, so there is a promise, no, of this, no, growth, no. Okay, although, no, it has also been proven that the strength of vaccines wane after 6 months, so there is still some danger. Kaya we still have to be very careful. Pero generally speaking, no, the energy is already changing, no? And Jupiter, as we mentioned, is now getting stronger. No? So Jupiter is getting luckier, so it will bring about more opportunities, no, for us. Okay, Jupiter is also, no, in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, and Pisces is considered a mutable sign as well as a feminine sign. No? So what does it mean? So basically, water is fluid. No? That's why we are having already this typhoons, no, very strong typhoon, no, Odette, no, for example, no, kasi ngayon nag-shift na, no, Jupiter will enter Pisces, no, by the end of the year, no, December, the last week, no, next week, no, the last week of 2021, no. Okay, and Jupiter is also a mutable sign. The positive effect of this mutability is flexibility, no. Some form of flexibility is needed. Okay. And yin sign is, generally speaking, the feminine sign. No? Women will be more dominant, will be more powerful, or will be more popular, no, in 2022. Okay, but every astrological factor has a positive and a negative effect. Okay, so itong growth, although Jupiter in Pisces can indicate growth, no, but at the same time, it can indicate a lack of direction, no? It can also mean lack of focus, no? Kasi the glyph, no, of Pisces is that of two fishes swimming in opposite directions, no? It can be because of mutability nga, no? Masyadong flexible, ngayon nawala ng focus, no? Masyadong growth-oriented, kaya lang walang direction, no? Okay, and then the spiritual side of Pisces, no, na can come out negatively as gullibility. Okay, no? So the point is, the planets are there to indicate something, no? But at the same time, there's always a shadow. Okay. Ngayon, the choice is ours. Saan ka ba, no? Are you for expansion or lack of direction? Are you for growth or lack of focus? Are you for spirituality, no, or gullibility, no? Being, no, at the sort of, no, center, no? Kasi something above, something below, tayo yung nasa gitna, no? So the choice is ours, no, kung saan tayo papunta. Okay, so that's one important lesson, especially in 2022, because I think, no, 2022 is a good time for us to strengthen our will, no? And then, as we will discuss later, no, astrologers, especially me, no, I believe that astrology, especially itong electional astrology, is one way wherein the will, no, can be strengthened. Okay. Okay, but at the same time, Saturn is actually in Aquarius. No? For the rest of 2022, Saturn will be in Aquarius. No? This is something good. No? There's something bad again, no? But there's also something good. My point here is that there should be a balance between Jupiter and Saturn. No? Okay, so Jupiter is in a water sign, Saturn is in Aquarius sign, so there must be some form of balancing act, no, between the emotions and the mind. Okay, so the balance is coming from this Saturn in Aquarius placement, because Aquarius is an air sign, a fixed sign, and also a yang sign or a masculine sign. So ito yung opposite. Fixed, no? Ang opposite ng mutability ng Pisces is the fixity of Saturn in Aquarius, no? Feminine, masculine naman itong sign, ano? And water and air. Water is generally about emotions and air is about thinking, logic, no, or systematic way of doing things. So ito yung pambalance. It's also in the placement, no, or the current transit of the year, no. Okay. Ngayon, this is the additional meaning of Saturn in Aquarius. No? Saturn in Aquarius demands mastery. Okay? So to be successful in 2020, no, and actually onwards, no, kasi itong Saturn in Aquarius, no, this is the signature of the next 2 decades, no, Aquarius. Okay, so what is needed is mastery. No? To be successful in 2022, we have to master something. No? The opportunities are there, pero dapat focus. Dapat we do our homework, no? We do things systematically. No? Yun yung sagot para ma-overcome natin yung negative side ng Jupiter in Pisces. Okay? So we need to combine, systematize, and propagate, no, knowledge. No? Combine means studying, observation, and systematizing, no, our knowledge, making or doing things in a very systematic way, step by step, no, so that meron ding check and balance, no, before you move to the next step. Be sure that the first step is done properly, or resting on solid grounds. And these are the trends in the coming years. Okay, so actually we discussed this as early as 2019. No? Kaya before the pandemic, ang forecast na natin for 2020, no, is that there will be, no, some form of restriction, and we will be using more of technology. No? Okay, so itong trend, no, that became more dominant or prominent in the past 2 years is actually because of this Aquarian influence. No? Again, because of the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in the sign Aquarius. No? Okay, so what does Aquarius indicate? Okay, Aquarius is about machines. No? It's about technology, it's about computers, and about math and science. So in everything that we do, no, computers, technology is becoming a part of it. If up to now you don't have your own say website, or you don't have your own FB page, no, for your products or business, you are not attuned, no, to the trends. No? And this trend, no, will continue, no, for the coming 2 decades at least. No? Pero ito kasing conjunction actually speaks of a longer trend, no? Which is about 200 years. Okay? And of course, Aquarius is also associated with math and science. So we also have to do things systematically, scientifically, no? And we also need to be more familiar with numbers. Ang problem is sa Pisces, pagka Pisces kasi over-optimistic, or kaya ito, Pisces kasi is the sign of leaps of faith. Pero minsan, it can lead to impractical decisions. No? Kaya kailangan you also compute, no? Compute your costs, no? Compute the after effects of your actions and decisions. So we have to include numbers, no, in whatever we are planning, working on, or acting on, no, in the next 12 months and onwards.